But some of them would rather even throw it out than give it to the staff or give it to shelters and stuff. But and I make a joke, like I say, I hate to see food go to waste when there are people starving in my apartment.
Thank you for listening to Serves You Right. My name is Andrew Roy, and today I got a chance to sit down and talk to Sudi, aka Rick, author of How Catering Sucked the Life Right Out of Me. In this conversation, we get a chance to talk about how catering differs from normal restaurant work, some of his stories, some of the things he likes, and more importantly, some of the things he dislikes about catering. So thank you for listening, and without any further ado, here's Sudi, and thanks for listening to Serves You Right. Is it Sudi or Rick, or where's that come from?
It's both in a way. Sudi is my legal given name, but that's too common, so I go by Rick. No. It's actually a Turkish name, but not a common Turkish name. And I used to joke it was short for Sudrik. People say, what is it short for? And then so I got the nickname Rick from that. So I kind of, as a Gemini, I just have the two names. And for acting, I use Rick more. For writing, I use Sudi more. So either one is fine, yeah.
So I came into contact with you with your book, How Catering Sucked the Life Right Out of Me. So tell us, how did you get into catering and a little bit about that story?
Yeah, I think I accidentally fell into catering many decades ago. I was out of college and I went to school for marketing, but I really was more interested in acting and things like that. So I was taking acting classes and looking for something to do on the side. And I think I just saw an ad in the paper for that. I did work. The only restaurant I ever worked in was like a couple months in Long Island called Spencer's. But I don't remember if I worked there first and then saw the catering ad.
This is where you did the old-fashioned thing, right?
I think if I'm following.
Yeah. You made the old-fashioned, sorry, yeah.
But I think what you mean is like a lot of actors and musicians, they do something to make money while they're trying to pursue their creative passion. So yeah, I was in my maybe early or mid-20s when I got into catering in Long Island, and then a little bit in New York City. And it's kind of not hard to learn or to do. So it wasn't. I don't cook the food. I just work for many caterers, and I can make toast and shish kebab. That's it on my own. But I can certainly heat up food, stand behind a buffet and serve, or pass hors d'oeuvres and make jokes, while I do it. But so I started there, and then I've been in California 23 years. So I did it out here for 23 years catering, and I did it in Long Island. I think it was what was the name of I forget the name of the company I work for now. No, I forget the name of it. God. Anyway, it'll come to it's probably even in the book. I just don't remember.
You'll yell it out later, I'm sure.
But what I liked about it was flexible, and I could still go on auditions and still pursue that. And a lot of creative people do it, so you're working with a lot of fun people and stuff. But yeah, it wasn't like I was seeking it out. But once I got into it, I really did enjoy it for the most part, and I still do some of it despite the name of the book.
Okay,
that makes it sound a lot worse than it is. Yeah, but. But I did what a lot of actors or writers do, and a lot of work in restaurants also. And I think that was one of the things that interested me in your podcast was kind of the differences of maybe restaurants and catering and stuff. But I only worked in that one restaurant because I don't want to deal with taking orders. I don't want to deal with counting up the money. I like going to different places, seeing different things, working with different people. But there's pros and cons to both. I'm sure there's a lot of things that are better when you work in a restaurant than when you do catering.
Well, it actually struck me that catering was almost like, the concept of like reductio ad absurdum in math, where you take things to their extreme. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, it's where you take something to its logical extreme and show there's a contradiction. And, it struck me that restaurant work is, desirable when it's desirable because of the flexibility, because you get to see the different people day in and day out, because you get to make some money, but you're not really tied to production of anything. And catering seemed to be all those things on steroids. Maybe that's a better analogy. Where
that's a great, actually.
The ultimate extreme in flexibility. You get the ultimate transient collection of people, including always a different house location, some famous people, as you highlight, and the ultimate end of you truly are not making anything. You oftentimes are watching a buffet.
Right.
Yeah. So
I think there's a little more physical work sometimes in catering where you're doing more setup as of sometimes, and not always, but sometimes you set up the tables and chairs or moving a lot of stuff and a lot of breakdown also at the end. Whereas in a restaurant, there's some of that, I guess, a little bit with your stations and this and that, but so it's a little more physical. Yeah.
But same thing, there's open work and close work, but it's usually pretty easy in a restaurant. Catering has just turned the volume up to 11 on both of those. You're moving chairs and tables, and yeah. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you about to say?
No, I don't even, I think I had finished, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, sure.
Or I was starting another thought that was probably going off track of what we were talking about. I'll do that sometimes.
Right. One thing I did want to kind of double click on, and it seems to be a running theme in the book, something that really did upset you, the amount of food that gets wasted in catering. So could you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, they really would, because they make so much extra food. God forbid they run out of anything, which makes sense, but they overdo and make so much. But some of them would rather even throw it out than give it to the staff or give it to shelters and stuff. But and I make a joke, like I say, I hate to see food go to waste when there are people starving in my apartment. That's the joke. There's not really people starving in my apartment, but there are people that don't have enough food. I think some companies were trying to give it to organizations, and there was some issues, legal issues, where someone could sue if they got sick and all that, because of one or two people ruins it for many. But we just waste so much food. I mean, the buffets are they have 8 different choices of stuff, and so much of it, they don't want to run out, so they overcompensate. But just so much food gets wasted and thrown out. It's like,
yeah, and it's such a weird thing, because I run a restaurant, and the saying is you can't make money on the food that you throw away. But catering's a strange thing where the food's been paid for already.
Exactly. Yes.
Which is just mind blowing for me. But
now we do actually, some of the caterers do let us take a lot of food home. I actually save a lot of money on groceries and stuff because I do, and my partner actually does catering also. So we always have a lot of food here. Or when you're catering, you eat while you're there. Well, except for the few that are really cruel and think you can work an 8-hour shift without having to feed you. That's a whole nother story. But so yeah, I do save money in that respect.
That might be actually a cool angle to take for a little while. What are some of the things you actually like about catering? What were the things that were the positive aspects?
Yeah, well, I think I call them the 3 or 4 F words: free food, free concerts, friends. You make good. You work with some people who become really good friends. You work. See celebrities and stuff, or work in a lot of fun events. Oh, a lot of free concerts. Like, I've seen Cyndi Lauper perform at an event, and what's his name? Kenny Loggins, and the Beach Boys. I mean, a lot of people. Olivia Newton-John, who's my favorite story in the book. One of them is when I was working an event and we're setting up the room during the day and, putting the silverware down, and the band is warming up for later on. And all of a sudden someone starts singing, "Let's Get Physical, Physical." I'm like, wow, she sounds a lot like Olivia Newton-John. And I turn around and there's Olivia Newton-John on the stage, in jeans and a t-shirt, and she's one of my all-time favorite, next to Dolly Parton. So I was getting paid to watch Olivia, rehearse with the band, and then later on I snuck in to watch. We weren't really supposed to be on the floor during the performance, but I did sneak in and watch her sing 6 or 7 of the songs. It's for a charity for Australia Week or something. But so that's a real big perk that I love. That seeing these free performances of people, that I like. What else do I like about catering? I mean, there is quite a bit. I said the free food, flexibility. Oh, that's the other F. I knew there was another F, because I can just cancel the next day, or I can take off for a month and go shoot my own movie, and it's there when I come back. And there's so many people doing it. If you need someone to cover for you, it's pretty easy to get them, or they can get someone. I feel it's so hard to do a 9-to-5 job if you're trying to do music or acting or writing and all that stuff. Some people can maybe, but
yeah. And I feel like someone who's in that line of work too, you get so much in terms of just content, almost like you're seeing so many different people, you're seeing so many different scenarios. I mean, even just the people who are waiting by the door, eating all your hors d'oeuvres as you walk in, like you could tell you've got stories of someone who's lived through these things. It's not hypothetical.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I've gotten a lot of ideas for songs and movies. When I wrote a whole script based on an event I worked. It was a fundraiser, and they were auctioning off a puppy. And I just got to thinking, what if they're not supposed to be auctioning off? It's a mistake. Like, somehow that puppy's not supposed to be auctioned off. I ended up writing a whole script based on that called The Auction, and it's gathering dust above me right now with 10 other scripts. But yeah, I get a lot of ideas for. I remember once people were eating, and I was like, they're eating like there's no tomorrow. And so that night I wrote a song called "Let's Love Tonight Like There's No Tomorrow." Like I took that, and so I just get, and yeah, people are interesting to watch and to see how they act at events. Yeah. So, and I try not to act that way when I'm at an event. Like, I've done events where it's a screening of a movie, and I've been there as a SAG guest, as a SAG member. And I've also worked those events where I'm serving a lot of the SAG actors and stuff. It's definitely better being on the other side, but I try not to go crazy like they do when the food is coming.
And that's actually a really great point that we could kind of work on for a second. For the listener who finds themselves at a catered event, how should they not act?
Okay, well, I mean, some people think it's like this small event and there's just a few people and they can just ask for anything. Oh, could you go get me this? It's like there's 500 people there. It's like, no, I can't go get you that. That's what we have, that kind of thing. Definitely don't ask, and this is true in a restaurant too, I think. Don't ask three different people for the same thing, because then three different people bring you, oh, I didn't get any.
Unless you want 3 Manhattans, of course.
Well, and something that is a tricky way of doing that. Some people may do that on purpose. You know me, don't you? No, I'm kidding. What else? Wait, what's the question? What's the question again?
Well, how should people not act?
Yeah. Oh, act and not act. Yeah, I have a whole, I think, chapter in that in the book. And everyone knows about the double dipping because of the Seinfeld episode. So I almost didn't even feel I needed to put that in the book, but I did for the 6 people that don't watch Seinfeld.
Yeah. If you're enjoying this, please take a moment, share it with a friend that you think might actually enjoy it too. It'd mean the world for me, and that's really all I could ask of you. All right, right back into it.
What else? Some events, if you're taking orders for food, which we rarely have to do, but it might be a wedding where they have 2-3 choices. Don't move your seats without telling someone. Sometimes people just move all over the place and you go to serve the food and they're not where they ordered it from.
Yeah, that actually goes for restaurants too.
Again,
I'm sure most people know that.
Yeah, rarely we have. Well, in a restaurant, they're at their own table. In a big wedding, sometimes they'll just, move at the table, or they might even go to another table. What else? God, I know there's a lot I'm not thinking of. Oh, okay. Well, they grab a lot of food. It's okay to want the hors d'oeuvres and eat the hors d'oeuvres, but you have a few of them that they know where the food is coming out of. They've learned where it is. They stand right by there. Every time someone comes out food, they grab it, and so the staff is not able to get to anyone in the back of the room or anyone else, that is not getting the food while this person is getting like 20 hors d'oeuvres. So there's a story. I think a friend of mine was working in New York, and there's a trick in catering. You hold it high above your head and you walk past everyone, the hors d'oeuvres, so that they can't reach. And it's obvious that you're trying to get further into the room. Well, he was doing that once, and this woman grabs his arm and the food went flying all over the place. And he turned to her and he goes, "Are you really that hungry?" And you would think she'd be embarrassed after that, but no, she kept coming up, for food. So that's one of the things. Don't be too aggressive with the food. And if you've gotten quite a few and let them get to some other people. That's a good one, I guess. What else?
Did the guy who asked that of that lady, did he stay there, or was that the end for him?
I don't know. He went on to start his own catering company too, but I don't think she even answered him. I think he just, I don't even know what happened after that, to be honest. But I thought that was a funny story. I wasn't there to witness that one. I was actually a guest at an event once, and the funniest thing, the waiter was getting so frustrated because he would come out and they would swoop in on him, like just attack him. And so finally he just comes out and he sets the plate on the floor, and they still attack the plate on the floor. And he goes, "You people are crazy." And he went back into the back. I wouldn't suggest that if you work in catering to do that. That was like, if I was the caterer, I would have had an issue with that, but it was funny to watch as a guest at that event. But they really, you'd think they didn't eat in weeks,
You have that story in the book too. That's perfect.
Yeah, I forget what I have in there, what I don't, and of course,
that's fine. Yeah.
And since I wrote it, which I would love, maybe it'll go in volume 2. No, I'm not going to do volume 2. I might do a musical, but not.
Have you seen some crazy quitting stories, or anyone just fed up, hands in the air, walk out in the middle of a shift? Or?
Well, actually, in all my years of catering, I did walk out of 2 or 3 shifts. One of them was for a caterer, and this happened after I wrote the book, I believe. I won't use their name. Whenever I bash a caterer in the book or here, I try not to use their real name. And if it's a caterer I love, like Katie Chin at Walkstar Catering, I use her name all the time in the book and praise them. But this one caterer, I'd had enough with already. Like there was one captain that was just so condescending and just horrible to work for. And we had been setting up an event for like 2 hours, and he's saying, "Everyone take a half-hour break, unpaid for." Like, well, I'm only here 5 hours. I don't need a half-hour break. We're here to work the 5 hours. Well, we might go longer than that. He said, I said, "Well, you can keep me 6 hours without a break." And They were trying to, take us the half hour, not pay us for the break, give us a break we didn't need or weren't supposed to get. So he was insisting on that. And there was no way to go. I said, well, you're going to feed us while we take the break? No, you can go and get something to eat at the Grove, So yeah, I'm going to go spend $30 on a burger. It's like, so I had already had it with him. I said, you know what? I said to the other guy, the other cat, whatever cat, sign me out. I'm done. And I called the guy that does the staffing for the company and told him, he's trying to make us go on this half-hour break. He goes, you don't need a half-hour break. You're only there 5 hours. I go, I know. And he was insisting, so I left. Okay, fine. And I think that was the last time I worked for that. But I'm trying to think if I've ever seen like someone like quit on the floor and just cause a scene or
something.
Throw
the hors d'oeuvres, yes.
Yeah. And I actually wrote a sketch, though, around that, like where the waiter just had it. It's called The Waiter's Last Night. It's on, I think, YouTube. It's a funny sketch. And I think I got that idea from, kind of imaginary, just because I remember once picturing, I heard someone once dumped a whole thing of spaghetti or something on some woman's head. He just had enough. I didn't witness that. When I also didn't witness this, there was a woman who I do talk about in the book, but not her real name, but she works at one of the companies. She's just always yelling at people. She's, just not a nice person. So one of the party planner people had just come in and he'd been there a couple hours and he had a piece of leftover slice of pizza that came in back from the hors d'oeuvres. And she goes, that's for the guests. He goes off on her. He goes, you fat piece of, dung or whatever. I've worked for you for this many.
You can say what you want on this one, just so you know.
This many, and he threw the pizza at her. She's kind of a heavy woman, so that was kind of funny. But no one liked this woman. In fact, she slipped and fell in the kitchen once. Everyone was waiting to serve hors d'oeuvres. And somebody goes, normally if someone falls, you'd go, oh, you okay? But she was so mean to everyone. Everyone just kind of tried not to laugh. And one guy goes, is the floor all right? We just tried to stifle the laugh. But I forget why I brought her up or if anyone quit in the job. Yeah, I'm sure. And I know I walked off one other job. The captain was drunk and he was rude. And I had worked with him the week before. And I was there like 20 minutes. And I went up to the owner. I said, I'm not going to work another night with this drunk jerk of a captain. I'm leaving right now. And I just left. Mm-hmm. And that was the last time I worked for them.
You mentioned captains in the book, but I kind of forget. Can you walk me through, are they like the managers of the catering? Or like, how does that work?
Yeah, they're not really the managers. They're the manager, and there's a supervisor or the salesperson that sets up the whole event. Then you have maybe a supervisor that helps organize it and stuff like that. The captains kind of run the event, or they have sections of the room, and they have the wait staff that they're kind of in charge of and delegate things to. A good captain should delegate, but also if something needs to be done, just jumps in and does a little bit if they have time or whatever. The ones that just stand around and don't do anything and just do this. Yeah, you want to be a good captain by delegating, but sometimes you're a little understaffed or something needs immediate attention and everyone is busy. You just jump in and do it. I can't stand captains that, the lazy ones. But so, yeah, they're kind of, and they get paid a little more. Probably not as much as they should as far as for that extra work. I know that one company, I don't know, they got $5 extra an hour, maybe 10, but it's more headache. That's the thing. You got to deal with the client. You got to deal with sometimes the chefs. You got to deal with the staff.
They're more of a point person in between everyone kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and they go down with the ship if the job goes bad. No, I don't know.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Have you ever done captain, or are you always just?
Well, I do some for the good kid, like Katie Chin, a Rockstar Catering. I do it for her and one or two others. But a lot of times I just don't want that headache. I want to just show up, do what I have to do, and not have to think too much, not have to deal with some of the clients. Most of the clients are great, especially with some caterers. But some of them, it's just like it's a nightmare. It's not worth the extra money and headache, and you got to fill out the reports. So I've done it a little bit.
You lose a little bit of that flexibility, I'm assuming, because when you're the captain of that event, you're there. There's no taking off or... Yeah.
Right. It's harder to get. Yeah, I think that you're the good point. That is another reason I didn't used to do it, because I wanted to know if I was captain, I'm like, shoot, if I get an audition or if I have this, it's harder to cancel or get another captain. It's easier to get another server. But that's a good point.
You keep talking about what you do on the outside. Can you kind of tell us about your life outside of the book? The acting, the writing, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, writing is what I love. And I write songs, I write books, I write scripts, and the writing part is easy. Getting them made is hard. I did write a movie called Walk a Mile in My Pradas, and we made it like 10 years ago or so, and that's still on Amazon Prime though. And we had Tom Arnold. This is a funny story. We had Tom Arnold, Dee Wallace, Mike Starr, but 2 months after we shot the movie with Tom Arnold in it, I'm serving hors d'oeuvres at a party, and there he is as a guest. And I was just like, until the movie makes money, here I am. He goes, oh, no, I get it. That's cool. He was really nice, but I felt a little embarrassed, which I shouldn't have. But
Yeah.
yeah, I love writing, and I write a lot of Christmas songs, drinking songs, even though I don't drink a lot. And yeah, I have like 10 scripts done. I'm trying to get some of those made, and I do a little bit of more writing, a little bit of acting. I'm in my own movie, but not like a huge part, a decent sized part. And I do a lot of music videos to my songs, so I kind of act in those and get my friends to also. Those are a lot of fun. I was just on Long Island in July for a film festival. We won best music video for my Singing Under the Influence, SUI. So it's about singing drunk karaoke, but we made a fun video for that. So that's my love. That's my
Congratulations.
passion.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's my passion. That's my love. But I don't make enough to do the writing and acting to not do catering, or I do some background SAG and commercial work on commercials and film too. So I enjoy that. And I don't hate the catering. I do, but it's definitely, if I had my druthers, as they say, I forget who says that, but I know someone said it. I'd rather just do writing and I'm trying to shoot a family inspirational film that I wrote that has a lot of country music in it. I've been trying to do that for a while. Hopefully that will get made soon. And I live in California. Where again? You're in
Omaha, Nebraska.
Omaha. Okay.
Yeah, right in the center.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been out here 23 years and I like it. I miss rain, but we've had rain 6 days in a row now, finally.
Oh, yeah.
So,
now, where in California?
Van Nuys in the Valley.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's near, used to live in North Hollywood, but I lived in Manhattan for 6 years and I grew up on Long Island. But
both coasts now. Yeah.
Both coasts, yeah. And I've liked everywhere I've lived. I mean, I'm pretty good at adapting, and I had a lot of friends that moved out here around the same time or afterwards. Some of them moved back out afterwards, but yeah, what else?
I feel like there is a larger portion of the population living a similar life to you than one might actually suppose. Even with the people I've talked to on this podcast, you're one of several that James Selby, one of the first ones on, he's a wine distributor. At least he was for the latter part of his life. But his life started off, he was an actor. He was in New York. He was, looking for work, working in commercials. And just, he had to find something to pay the bills while he was getting married. And instead of going to catering, he went into distribution and selling wine. I feel like a lot of people, they give it a shot and they've got to pay the bills on the side.
Yeah. And people need food and drinks. So
exactly. Yeah.
And it's, I was able to get enough work, except for the pandemic. Obviously everything shut down, and then there was a SAG strike. So that kind of slowed things down. And then even this year, the California fires kind of slowed things down. But usually it's enough to, if I need that work, I can get it. And then if I'm not getting as much commercial or film work, that's why the catering, I do still do it. And there were a couple of good caterers in New York I worked for that I still remember. Chef Rossi at Raging Skillet. I think she's still around, and I worked for her like 25 years ago. So I praise her in the book and stuff too. But I do. I'll probably write a musical. Yeah, I love writing songs. So, and
you said you were the singing caterer too. So
do I say that? Singing. Oh, that's funny because something I do, and I have what I call jukebox Tourette's. If someone says something and it's in a song or it's a title, it just comes out of my mouth. I start singing it. And so I just named it jukebox Tourette's. But I love singing. I'm not a great singer. I can carry a tune if it's not too heavy.
If I remember correctly, you said you could give Weird Al Yankovic a run for his money. Yeah.
Because I do write parodies sometimes too. Not really, just for fun. I mean, I just come up with stuff. But
yeah.
No, he's pretty good at what he does. I don't know if I could do that as good as he does, but.
Well, let's see. Are there any stories that sorry, you go first.
Sorry, no, you just reminded me though, like for the parodying thing and my singing. So if I was catering on a Monday, I would go around singing, "Catering on Mondays always gets me down," from Rainy Days and Mondays. But anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask, are there any stories that we've missed so far, or something that we'd be remiss not include in the podcast? Stories that happen in catering, or? Sure, yeah. I'm leaving it open for you.
I gotcha. Stories I probably can't tell here, but some of the catering ones were funny because one of them was a groom that didn't show up for the wedding, and the bride had already paid, everything was paid for. She just went ahead and had a party, and she got up and sang "I Will Survive" and stuff. And so I just admired her. I remember her to this day, 30 years later, how, she said, better to know he's an asshole now than in 2 years or whatever, so her attitude was great. And I heard later, a couple of years ago, that she actually remarried shortly after that. She met someone else, and because I asked the caterer, I said, whatever happened with that? Oh yeah, I ran into them, and so they're very happy and they got remarried. But that was cool. And then the other thing, which this kind of sticks in my head because the amount of money wasted. We were talking about how much food is wasted. The amount of money wasted sometimes. I worked at an event once for 5-year-old twins, and it was a 2-day event. It was a $5 million party. Like one day they had a whole theme of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. They put a chocolate river running through the yard. They had 2 pools with synchronized swimmers in it. They had $50,000 jars of caviar on each table. It was just for 5-year-olds, twins, their birthdays. And so that was one day. The second day they switched over the theme to Snow White or something. I didn't work that part of it. But I'm thinking, my God, to spend $5 million on for 5-year-old, you could have funded 4 of my scripts, my movies, So.
Well, I think the rule is $1 million a year.
Oh, is that what it is? No, yeah. I can remember. They might have even been 3 years. No, they had to be 5, I think. But I think they did, So, but I'm thinking, these people have so much money. What am I doing wrong that I don't have that much money? And then I'm thinking, no. What are they doing wrong? Did they have that much money? Because it's it can't be legal.
Yeah. Well, who knows? It's California. It's wild out there.
Yeah. True. Yeah. I think they were Russian oligarchs or something living like it was. I think they owned a lot of media in Russia or something is what I got from it. But
the caviar, it makes sense. Yes.
Yeah.
No, my wife's Russian, so I got big respect for the Russians. But her family ran out of Russia, so even more respect for them. Yeah. So. Oh, awesome. Sudi, someone listening at home, where should they go to find out more about you? Can they find your stuff?
TMZ, I'm on there a lot. No, I'm not. I'm never on TMZ. I have a website, www.sudirik.com. So both my names, Sudi and Rick. SudiRick.com. Perfect. I'm on Facebook under, I think, Sudi Karatas. And I'm on Instagram under Sudi Rick, I think. So I think if you put Sudi in, I'll probably pop up. There aren't a lot of Sudis. I didn't meet another Sudi till I was 34. I was bartending, and someone said, "How you doing, Sudi?" And they weren't talking to me. I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" He goes, "That guy." He goes, "What's his name?" Sudi. I go, "That's my name," and I've never met another one. And I was like 35 at the time.
Gosh.
What else? I'm on. Yeah, I guess those are the main things that I'm on. Oh, YouTube. I have a lot of my videos, sketches and songs, music videos, and that's under I think Sudi Karatas. I think I left the Rick out on that one. I know it gets confusing.
Yeah, for anyone who's listening, I'll actually find those links and I'll make sure that they're all in the show notes just to make sure. And a link to the Sudi Rick website too. So just to make sure. And I've got to say, I am jealous of someone with such a unique name being named Andrew. And especially I hear people say "and" all the time. And I think I hear my name in crowded rooms all the time because all the words "and." So it'd be kind of nice to have only heard like one time.
You just reminded me of a kind of an acting story with Patrick Dempsey. I worked on a movie with him before he did Grey's Anatomy, and his character's last name was Masudi. So every time they would say Masudi, I would be like, "Oh, did someone say my name?" And I think I told him my legal name is Sudi, and we had a little laugh. And then a year later, he saw me at another set, and he came up to me, remembered me. That was really nice. And part of it, I think, was that whole Sudi things.
For sure. Well, awesome. Sudi, Rick, whatever your name happens to be, It was a pleasure to meet you today.
Nice to talk to you. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you again for listening. If you have not, please like, subscribe, and also leave a comment on this show. Every interaction is really, really appreciated. I respond personally to every message, comment I get. Episodes of this show come out every Tuesday, every week. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and I'm looking forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.